Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you.
Job openings nationwide have reached their highest level since 2001. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, openings exceeded 5.1 million last month. Now, this should be good news unless you're an employer and you're hoping to retain or attract top performers. A new survey by Robert Half found that 1 in 4 chief financial officers say they've lost a good employee in the past year to a job elsewhere that offered higher compensation. So if a new war for talent is heating up, just what can an employer do to compete? Andrew Sassaman is branch manager for Robert Half here in Pittsburgh, and welcome. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
Yeah, for folks who don't know Robert Half, what's your piece of the whole talent management business?
Sure. So we're the world's first and largest specialized staffing firm. We have specialties in accounting and finance, information technology, legal, office and administrative placements. And so our job really is to keep a pulse on the market and know what's going on.
All right. Well, what is going on out there? I mean, this should be good news, right? 5 million job openings. I know on our website, imaginepittsburgh.com, I got like 29,000 open jobs here in the region. So that's terrific.
It's great. It's fantastic. But again, like you said, unless you're an employer, that might not be paying quite what the market rate would be. And that's where the challenge comes in, is a lot of employers aren't familiar with the fact that we've moved forward, that rates are going up, that compensation is going up, and there is a war for talent right now.
Yeah, I think about it. You talk about since 2001, the last time the numbers were this high. Well, that was right on the tail end, right at the peak, right, of the dot-com bubble, right?
Yeah.
Then we had a recession.
Yep.
Then we had a war,
Yep.
and then we had another recession, the Great Recession. I would think a lot of employers, especially here in our region, have kind of maybe gotten a little bit complacent that there's talent out there because the economy's not doing so well. That begins to change a little bit when the economy starts doing pretty well.
It does. Some of the numbers even that you hear are a little misleading. So you look at unemployment, 5.5% nationally. That number's even skewed a little bit because as you look at the professional space where we operate, accounting and finance, for example, unemployment is less than 3%, 2.8%.
2.8% in accounting, holy mackerel.
Any profession, college degreed, 25 and older, under 3% unemployment. That's, I mean, almost full employment, depending on which economist you listen to, right?
Sure.
So,
well, and I've heard too. You know, there's been a lot of talk about declines in the labor force, but some of that seems to be due to retirement. So part of what's going on is the older, experienced talent, the baby boomers, right, are starting to leave the workforce.
Yes, they are, and there's just not enough talent out there to replace them. And the talent that is out there, it's getting gobbled up by the organizations that can afford to offer some higher salaries or better perks.
Okay, well, and that becomes part of the strategy here, I guess. Number one, how do you figure out what everybody's paying so you know you're competitive?
You got to stay in tune with your local marketplace. So here in Pittsburgh, for example, you can look at the salary guides that are out there. Robert Half publishes an annual salary guide, and it gives a picture of what the national averages look like, but then it gives a specific target for Pittsburgh and what our local economy looks like. You can look at Career Builder or Monster. They have different hiring tactics. Stay in contact with your local folks. Recruiters are great ones to turn to know what's going on in the marketplace. You got to stay in tune with what is going on, whether it be through networking or watching programs like this. Yeah,
you talk about looking at the market in the region, though. But I think one of the stats I saw recently is that there's some sign that people now are starting to leave the region again because they're finding better opportunity elsewhere. So you do kind of have to be paying attention to what the competition is paying in terms of other places, right?
You do, yeah. You can't just. Yeah, that's a good point. You can't just stay in your little bubble here in Pittsburgh. You do have to be aware of what your industry is doing across the country as well.
So if you're operating in a business with really tight margins, not a lot of pricing moves so that you can charge more so you can pay your people more, are there any other strategies you can use to try to keep people or get them to work for you?
Sure. There's other things you can look at outside of just compensation. Compensation is one of the biggest drivers, but it's important to know your employees and know what they're looking for. For example, a lot of the younger generation coming up, flex time is important, working from home is important, extra time off is important, work-life balance. Those are things that don't cost you much as an organization usually. If you can offer those types of perks, that's really going to help foster a great work environment. And people want to work where they're appreciated. People want to work in an environment where they enjoy it. And that can overcome some of the compensation challenges.
Because presumably then the premium somebody else would have to offer gets that much bigger. So yeah, it makes it a little more attractive for them to stay with you. So if people want to find out more or get this annual employment survey that Robert Half does, how do they find it? Is it available online?
It is available on our website at roberthalf.com, or they can reach out to one of the local Robert Half offices, and we'll be glad to get them the information.
All right, really good information. Word to the wise, if you're not thinking right now about what's happening in the economy and the demand for talent, it sounds like this is the moment to get serious about it.
It is, absolutely.
All right, Andrew Sassaman from Robert Half, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bill.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And we'll be back in a minute with a little more dollars and cents. Stay with us.